Alale Yusuf. Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver caused majorly by viruses. Although most viral hep infections cause mild disease and eventually resolve on their own, some develop complications. Subtypes B and C, which cause chronic disease, are responsible for 1.1 million infections and deaths every year. Only 10% of people with hepatitis B are diagnosed, and of those, only 22% are on treatment. 42% of the world's children have access to a birth dose of hepatitis B vaccine. Currently, more than 350 million people around the world are living with viral hepatitis. Scientists have been working to unravel the mystery of a new outbreak of unexplained acute hepatitis affecting children, which does not belong to the common subtypes A to E. My guest joining via Zoom from Jalingo, Taraba State, is a member of WHO Geneva on the Strategic and Technical Advisory Committee for HIV, viral hepatitis, and STIs. He is also president the World Hepatitis Alliance. Welcome to the show, Dr. Prince Ada.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, and it's indeed a pleasure to have me on the show with you again today. And good afternoon to all Nigerians, or good morning from wherever you're watching. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you so much. So let's just make something clear from the outset. Should we wait for hepatitis symptoms before visiting the hospital? And what are these symptoms?
Well, Mary, thanks a lot. You brought up an issue that I think has fueled the lack of care that people have about hepatitis. And most often we get to hear people asking, what are the symptoms if you have hepatitis? Hepatitis attacks the liver, that's viral hepatitis. And the majority of people that come down with either cirrhosis or hepatocellular carcinoma, that is liver cancer, do not just develop the liver cancer overnight or the cirrhosis overnight. It takes 10, 15, 20 years or 30 years before the evidence of cirrhosis or cancer begins to show. That is if it is not acute liver flare, because there's what is called acute liver flare. That could happen just within months of infection. So by the time the real complication begins to set in, most often it is too late for medical sciences to intervene. By then, the liver is almost backing up. I'll give example with an automobile. The liver plays this very crucial role like the engine of an automobile. By the time you begin to see the smoke coming out from your automobile, it didn't just start overnight. It must have begun maybe at a certain time, but maybe probably you didn't notice it. That is the issue about the liver. The liver is a very strong organ in the body that tries to regenerate liver cells, tries to heal itself, tries to fight. And then in the process of this fight between the liver, the immune system, that is when the degeneration of the liver takes place, fibrosis takes place, cirrhosis takes place, and then begins to develop liver cancer. So it takes time. And unfortunately, most people are caught down at the prime of their age. So you don't want to wait until you have symptoms before you get tested or before you get care for your hepatitis B condition. Early testing could save your life and could improve your chances of survival with hepatitis condition.
Okay, Dr. Ada, your theme at the World Health Alliance, at the World Hepatitis Alliance is, I can't wait. Tell me, what can't we wait for or to do at this time? What can't we wait for or what can't we wait to do? What is our responsibility towards eradication of hepatitis?
I can't wait was developed to really buttress the urgency in testing, diagnosing, and starting treatment for hepatitis. Now, I'm very happy with the statistics you rolled out that just less than 10% of people diagnosed with hepatitis, are even on treatment, right? So I can't wait is to tell you the urgency that in every 30 seconds, one person dies of hepatitis-related ailment all over the world, which is a preventable disease. Hepatitis is a liver cancer disease, but it is preventable through the effective vaccine and is curable for hepatitis C. So children that get infected with hepatitis at birth have the higher chance of developing liver cancer later in life. So I can't wait tells the urgency that government, look, people cannot wait until they develop liver cancer before you diagnose them. People that are living with hepatitis need to be diagnosed early, need to be treated early. Babies cannot wait. When they are born, they need this birth dose vaccine as early as possible, within 24 hours. So we can't wait. It tells the urgency of this. Every 30 seconds, Mary, one person dies of hepatitis-related ailment. And 1.1 million people, and all these are avoidable, preventable deaths if the right thing is done by providing access to either the vaccine or providing access to the diagnosis and the treatment for people that are in need. So it tells us the urgency of the need to take action now. And it's not something to delay, but now is time to take action against hepatitis elimination.
I know that it's easy to say, well, go ahead and eliminate, but there must be some challenges, in the way of your goals. 2025, 60% reduction, and 2030, 90% reduction. What are these challenges?
Now, a lot of challenges have really slowed down the progress towards elimination of viral hepatitis. I'll start with the issues around awareness. Most of the stigmatization, lack of care, lack of people even accessing testing or treatment boils down to lack of awareness about even hepatitis itself. Majority of people out there don't even know. As a matter of fact, even among learned, educated people, there's very low information about viral hepatitis, and even among healthcare professionals, and worst of it all, among decision makers and policy makers. So the lack of awareness is probably making people not to care enough to invest in hepatitis elimination. It's making policymakers not to care enough to see hepatitis as a priority in health agenda. If government, policymakers, donors will prioritize hepatitis and care enough and put it on the health agenda by providing, for example, improved access to diagnosis at the primary and secondary level of care, maybe we could change the narrative. If government and funders, for example, Gavi, would care enough and not delay any longer in making the birth dose vaccine available for children born within 24 hours of birth, maybe then we could change the narrative about hepatitis elimination. But as it is, lack of awareness that fuels the lack of care, and the poor investment is a major, major barrier we need to overcome. Then you look at stigmatization. People living with hepatitis are still stigmatized. People are denied jobs. People are denied relationships. People are denied even visas to go to some countries, or even to travel out to some countries. And people are sent out of work environments because of stigmatization about hepatitis. So this also is a big barrier. And now that slows down, or rather makes people not to have good health-seeking behavior, to try to seek for help in order to get the care that they need about their hepatitis condition. So lack of awareness, the stigmatization, and lack of prioritizing hepatitis as a disease of public health importance and a top priority by government and funders and investors are major barriers we need to really address. So if only government will care enough, donors will care enough, funders will care enough, and the public will also care enough to have good health-seeking behavior, to know that this is a virus that attacks the largest organ in the body, the liver. It attacks the liver. It makes your liver to malfunction, not to work properly. If you know that this is what happens to your body if you have hepatitis, you will care enough to go for testing, and also, of course, the government will care enough to prioritize.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this. Let me ask you this. Yeah. I hear you saying two things. First, you are saying that a baby should be vaccinated before the mother leaves the hospital. That's one. Absolutely. Then number two is a question. The question is it not dangerous to allow somebody with hepatitis to come to work?
It's not dangerous. Hepatitis is not contagious. Hepatitis is not spread by sweat. It's not spread by coughing. It's not spread by casual contact, right? Hepatitis is only transmissible through contact with infected body fluids, like HIV. It's not gotten through sweat or coughing or touching of hands or sharing clothes. No, that is the area people don't understand. And a worker, a civil servant, someone can have hepatitis and still work optimally if the person takes care of his or her health. So it's not a contagious disease that spreads by casual contact, handshake, even sharing clothes. No, it doesn't spread by coughing, doesn't spread by sweat. No. So these are the misinformation people have, and government, or even we know of some companies or institutions that will even send their workers packing because of hepatitis. That is unacceptable because it is not the way people think it is. It's not contagious at all. So
tell us about this. Tell us about this new strain that was discovered that has been affecting children. Should we be concerned? Okay. Let's know a bit about it.
Yes, we could be concerned. It started in Scotland, and the good thing is that, if I should use the word good, it's not related, just like you rightly say, to the viral hepatitis A, B, C, D, or E. So scientists discovered acute hepatitis among children, and so most studies have been done, and it is not related to the viral hepatitis A, B, C, D, E. So a lot of theories are coming up as to why. Probably exposure after travels, exposure by the public, exposure to either other viruses or other toxins or whatever in the environment or around as soon as travels were opened up from after COVID-19. So yes, it was a thing of concern. However, it's not related to viral hepatitis A, B, C, D, or E. And it is mostly acute. Acute meaning that it could go and self-limiting within a short period of time, and it doesn't have long-term effect on the health of the children that were diagnosed and people that got affected or got infected.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ada. Let's go on a very short break. Please stay with us as we go on a short break. And we're talking about viral hepatitis, accessing treatment and care for viral hepatitis. We are speaking with Dr. Prince Ada, President, World Hepatitis Alliance. You can call if you have questions about viral hepatitis, 0808-054-2233, or tweet at CTV_Mary, or send email to moalale@channelstv.com. Dr. Ada, let's quickly go to another matter. One of the foci of this year's observance is bringing care closer to the people. Now, a scenario where hepatitis could be diagnosed and treated at the primary health care level, is that feasible in Nigeria?
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the question, I think because of unstable internet connection.
Okay, I'll ask it again. Bringing care closer to the people. Is it feasible to expect that hepatitis could be diagnosed and treated at the primary healthcare level as they're trying to push? Is that feasible in Nigeria?
Absolutely. Now, 10, 15 years ago, hepatitis care was majorly the exclusive preserve of the gastroenterologist and hepatologist. And that was majorly because of the lack of capacity, lack of systems, and lack of availability of diagnostics to even care for hepatitis. So the WHO theme of bringing hepatitis closer to the people really buttresses the importance of decentralization of care and tax shifting in hepatitis care. Now, it's not promoting quackery, it's not promoting self-help, but it's just saying that in the hepatitis care is a public health issue that trained, please, I'm using the word trained, non-specialists can also manage hepatitis outside the specialized, centralized care or tertiary hospital institutions. Just this month, I think in Geneva, the WHO launched the new guidelines for hepatitis C care with evidence to show that trained healthcare professionals like nurses can manage hepatitis, can treat hepatitis C at this primary or secondary level of care. I'm emphasizing the word train because that is very important for anybody that is delivering care. You must at least have received the basic training on the continuum of care. So why is this important? It's because, one, as it is, diagnosis is majorly centralized, especially in countries like Nigeria and other low middle income countries. Diagnosis is centralized in mostly tertiary institutions. For example, the viral loads testing, that is a requirement to even initiate treatment. It's difficult to get viral loads at the secondary or primary level of care. But hepatitis care can be accessible at that point if only point of care can be deployed. And that is why gene expert machines that are used for tuberculosis, for HIV, could also be used for viral load testing if only they are adapted for the testing at that level. So that is done. I mean, the WHO requirement is to ensure that more people access care, is to break down the barriers of people traveling long distances to the specialized tertiary health institutions where they can get care, whereas care can be obtained if only diagnosis are available, healthcare professionals are trained to provide the care at the secondary and primary level of care. So it is absolutely possible if only the right things are done by providing trainings and making sure that the right tools are available at that level of care. It is completely possible to get that done.
You spoke about a birth dose vaccine. So at least there's one. How many does a child need to be immune?
Now, why do we even promote the birth dose vaccine? Evidence have shown that over 60-70% of people that have liver cirrhosis or liver cancer most likely acquired or got infected at birth. So birth dose vaccine is one. In fact, what the WHO recommends is that all babies born should have at least the monovalent vaccine within 24 hours of birth. And then there's a follow-up pentavalent 3 or 4 shots that should go within 6 months after delivery. Now, what about women that deliver outside hospitals? This is where we also need to have this understanding. The hepatitis B monovalent vaccine is one of the most heat-resistant vaccines. It can stay outside the cold chain even for some hours or even more than a day.
Can I interrupt you just a second? We have Ada on the line. Hello, Ada. What's your question?
Yes, Ada calling from Jos. My question is hepatitis B, is it curable?
Okay.
The problem we have in Nigeria is that we don't have a reliable and robust health insurance scheme. You know, if we have that, people don't have to pay out of their pocket. So it will make people to go for regular checks, you know, whether they are ill or not. Or not.
Okay, Ada, you're breaking, but we have at least 2 points from you. Ada is asking, is hepatitis B curable? And then she's saying she's lamenting about the lack of health insurance. So how do people now go and check if there's a problem with them?
I cannot agree more. I cannot agree more with her about health insurance. And that is one of the issues that fuels the lack of care in Nigeria, for example. People paying out of pocket, and considering the fact that this is most likely going to take place for life, because hepatitis B treatment for now is not curable. Hepatitis B for now is not curable, but people will require lifelong treatment. However, not everybody with hepatitis B is likely eligible for treatment. So we need to understand this, please. Not everyone that is positive to hepatitis B is likely eligible for treatment. And that is why it's important you see a trained healthcare professional to guide you appropriately. But for now, there's no absolute functional or even clinical cure for hepatitis B as that now.
Let's say an adult wants to check whether he or she has hepatitis B with a view to getting the vaccine if negative. What does the person do? Does the person have to go to a primary healthcare center and be referred? How do they go about it?
That's where we are promoting testing should be available, even if it's just a simple rapid hepatitis B surface antigen testing should be available at least in every primary healthcare center, should be available in every general hospital for people to access the care. Now, let me say this again, Mary, it might interest you to know, and this I'm saying this with all sense of response, with a heavy burden in my heart, that majority of hepatitis B rapid test kits available in Nigeria today that are being used are suboptimal and not genuine. They're fake. They don't give good results. That is a thing of concern to us as advocates, and it should be a thing of concern to even the Federal Ministry of Health and governments across the states and all the states in Nigeria. However, people can still access this testing in primary care level of care or secondary level of care to get hepatitis B testing, at least the surface antigen and the anti-HCV test. And anybody that is diagnosed negative should also ask to be vaccinated. Though the issue of availability of vaccine for adults is now a question because they always tell you the vaccines are not available. But we recommend that anybody that is negative should please get vaccinated.
Let's quickly take this call from Toyin. Hello, Toyin. Have we lost Toyin? I think we have lost Toyin, but you can try again. So on the whole, how many doses does an adult, a negative testing adult, need to be immune? And how long does the cover last?
3 shots of vaccine. The first shot should be at the point of when being tested and you're negative. The second shot is 30 days after, right? And the third shot should be within 4 to 5 months after the second shot. The essence of giving this period of time is to give the body the antibody enough time to develop and to grow, to come up. So unlike what is done in most places, vaccines are given rapidly within 3 months. That is not recommended. So the recommendation is within first shot, second shot, 30 days, and then the third shot should come like 4 to 5 months after the second shot, giving room for the bodies to develop the antibodies that will be able to fight infections in the future. So 3 shots of vaccine can give lifelong protection. However, we recommend also that people should, 2 months after the last dose of the vaccine, please go and check what is called post-serologic vaccine testing to determine if your antibodies were activated or not. So don't just get vaccinated and just stay back and think you're immune because the vaccines will fail. So
excellent information, sir. But I have to stop you there because we are out of time. This is a lot to digest. Thank you so much for coming to the show. That's Dr. Prince Ada, World Hepatitis Alliance President. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for calling in, Ada, and thank you for calling in, Toyin. Have a wonderful day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.